Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark is refuting claims by the opposition that there's a shortage of US dollars in Jamaica. Dr. Clark says the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, now has the most reserves in the history of the country. Last week, opposition spokesman on finance Mark Golding called for Dr. Clark and the BOJ governor to immediately address the shortage, adding that the problem existed for at least 3 weeks and it led to the rapid depreciation of the Jamaican dollar. Dr. Clark says the opposition is taking advantage of a long-standing fear among Jamaicans.
We're in a completely different era, completely. And for them to suggest that is plainly mischievous. Jamaica's economy is in a fundamentally different place. In the past, we have had issues of foreign exchange that are reflecting economic fundamentals. You have had, chronic fiscal deficits or massive debt or huge layoffs and unemployment, chronic instability, high inflation. Those were the drivers in the 90s of what we came to associate with foreign exchange anxiety. Today, our economic fundamentals are entirely different.
The BOJ says large capital transactions affected the exchange rate of the US dollar. The BOJ intervened on Friday by selling $30 million to authorized dealers and cambios to offset the effects of excessive volatility in recent weeks. The General Secretary of the National Council of Taxi Associations believes that some measures in the Transport Act will not do much to improve the sector. Frederick Brand says a change in mindset is needed.
We try to change the mindset of the people that are doing the job, then it will change the whole behavioral pattern. There's a real challenge in this country with values, hence the attitude that we see out there.
He says based on his observation, the government does not appreciate the value of taxi associations.
The scammers, day 1, day 2, day 3. We have some wayward drivers. Some drivers that are not good for the sector. The good drivers must be commended and you scam. The bad drivers, don't stereotype all of us, you are not the same.
Mr. Bryan was speaking at an appreciation service for transport workers yesterday at the Watson Hill Pentecostal Church of God in South Manchester. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament Michael Stewart believes more dialogue is needed as some of the new policies being implemented are onerous.
If Jamaica is to prosper, as Mr. Witter would often say, we know that there needs to be justice, there needs to be peace, there needs to be harmony. And there must be a level playing field with all our taximen, the police officers, the Transport Authority, the Minister of Transport himself.
The Westmoreland police are yet to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the fatal collision that claimed the life of a man on the Williamsfield Main Road Sunday night. The deceased has been identified as Oral Spence, a farmer from the parish. TVJ News understands that about 10:50, Mr. Spence was driving a motorcycle towards Grange District. When he arrived at a section of the roadway, he apparently lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a yard. He sustained multiple injuries. Crime scene detectives are now carrying out investigations at the University of West Indies, Mona, after a body was found in a pond on the campus this morning. The body was partially submerged in the pond located on the grounds of the chapel. The Hanover police seized 1 firearm and 15 rounds of ammunition during an operation in Maguire District on Sunday morning. Reports are that about 5 a.m., a team searched a premises which was occupied by a male and female. One Smith & Wesson 9mm gun with a magazine containing 15 9mm rounds of ammunition was found. Both persons were taken into custody, however their identities are being withheld pending further investigations. A curfew has been imposed in sections of Salt Spring St. James. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Sunday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Tuesday. The boundaries of the curfew are north along Montego Hills from the intersection with Salt Spring Road, east along Meggetop from Montego Hills to Cornwall Courts in the vicinity of Green Pond High School, south along Cornwall Courts from Green Pond High to Salt Spring Road, west along Salt Spring Road from Cornwall Courts to the intersection with Montego Hills. And all persons within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain within their premises unless authorized in writing by the ground commander. Residents of Willardine Estates in St. Catherine are making an appeal to the government to fix the roads in their community. They claim the deplorable state of the road has contributed to an upsurge in crime in their community. We have details in this report.
Why should we be paying our taxes and trying to do the right thing, pay our bills on time, and trying to live a godly and decent life to be subjected to conditions like this?
That question directed at the government from residents living in Willardine Estate, St. Catherine. A pothole with a dirt track is what the residents have been calling a road for several years. They claim the deplorable condition of the road has made life in the community challenging, particularly when it rains.
The roads are so bad in Willardine, you can see it on Google Map. Now we don't have any sidewalks. The taxis don't come in. For the persons who drive in Willardine, we soon have to park our cars and, I don't know, sell it and try to rent somewhere to live.
When a little rainfall, about 8 houses affected. We can't come out of our house. It's like a sea. You want a boat.
I'm marooned inside my premises. I cannot come out the gate because when the water settled in front of my gate, and stagnant water because it's morass, and with the mosquito infestation that we all have to undergo.
As it is now, some sections of the road have overgrown bushes. And the residents say this has prompted thieves to target their community.
On my road, it used to be that every single morning we got robbed. Every single morning. Rape, robbery, break-ins, we have all of that.
And because of the bad roads, the truth is we're at our worst, and criminals see that as an opportunity. So because of that, persons are actually afraid to come out.
So we're asking, because I know that I personally pay taxes. So we as citizens here, we are asking the authorities, whether you are PMP or JLP, I do not care. We just want to have road.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
At least one school in Bogwalk, St. Catherine has made attempts to curtail the ongoing violence among students. The Enid Bennett High School launched its Peace March over the weekend to campaign against violence in schools.
Students of the Enid Bennett High School marched in solidarity over the weekend in a campaign against violence in schools. Organizer of the campaign, Patrina Nelson, says the march, which is a no-fighting initiative, is the institution's way of curtailing violence in schools.
We have been having serious issues at our school with fights. Our students have been getting in a lot of fights, and so this initiative came about because we realized that our students need help in resolving their conflict. And so we have launched this campaign to say to them, fight should not be the ultimate act. Love your brothers, love your classmates, your schoolmates, walk away.
For this initiative, we just want the community to know that when they see our children fighting, arguing, just intervene and let them know that's not the right way to resolve a conflict.
We should show that we don't stand for violence in school. Because violence in school, it's definitely not good. It causes students to get killed, parents to be mourning, and cause a negative effect on society on a whole.
Last May, 16-year-old Kevon Barnes and a schoolmate were walking along the Bogwalk Main Road when they were attacked by a group of teenage boys. Kevon and his schoolmate were stabbed by the attackers. They were rushed to the hospital, however Kevon succumbed to his injuries.
It was one of the initiatives that pushed us to say that the fight needs to stop. We don't want to lose any more children. We love our children and we want our school to succeed.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And in sports, the number of teams to compete in this year's Jamaica Cricket Association Senior Cup tournament has gone up by one with the inclusion of the Jamaica University College. But even with the additional team, at least one stakeholder feels the competition needs to be revamped.
The 2019 Jamaica Cricket Association two-day Senior Cup competition is set to bowl off on February 9, with each team playing at least 5 preliminary round games before the quarterfinal round. It means 16 teams will play a maximum of 5 games, a number Melbourne Cricket Club President Martinita feels is too low.
My only regret, though, is that I think that the Senior Cup competition is much too short. I'm a strong believer that Senior Cup cricket, club and parish cricket is a bedrock of our success, and I would have hoped for a much longer season, and I think that would have been probably better for the overall development of our game.
But while the season may be short for some teams, CEO of the Jamaica Cricket Association, Courtney Francis, feels the just completed Super League has aided in giving players an extended season.
All I expect to have a very good Senior Cup season. A lot of the players who will be participating in the Senior Cup teams have already been preparing in the Super League. So therefore that fitness and that level of competence will spill over into the Senior Cup. So I expect more hundreds to be scored. I expect the teams to be fitter, and so therefore I expect better performances both with the bat and the ball.
Meanwhile, Michael joins GC Foster College and defending champions, the University of the West Indies, as tertiary institutions to participate in the two-day competition.
Well, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's something that we have been working towards for a couple of years now, and we're finally here, so we have something to prove, and we're coming with our A game.
The Jamaica University College will play in Zone D of the competition alongside St. Catherine CC, Portland, St. Mary, St. Catherine CA, and Boys Town. Renata Brown for TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.